More than 20 dead as a killer tornado rips through parts of America. It struck at night, destroying lives, homes and businesses. By daybreak, the appalling devastation was all too clear. Also on the programme, an urgent appeal to the UK to help house more Ukraine refugees. But other refugee housing plans are causing tension in some communities. And a special honour for some of the late Queen's aides, including the 8 pallbearers who carried her coffin into the funeral.
This is ITV News with Kylie Pentelow.
Good evening. Winds of 70 miles an hour and hailstones the size of golf balls have destroyed large swathes of the state of Mississippi in the US. A tornado killed at least 23 people, but rescuers fear that number will rise as they search through the devastation and wreckage left behind. In just over an hour, it destroyed lives, families, communities and businesses. And when morning came, the devastation wrought by nature's fury was all too plain to see. Callum Watkinson has the latest.
Is there a big tornado, big winds?
Even the storm chasers who spend their lives running towards these phenomena were blown away by the size of this one.
Whoa! You see it? It's a mile wide!
Oh, man. Like north side.
And as he watched it bear down on Amory, Mississippi at 70 miles an hour, weatherman Matt Loban could only think of one thing to say.
Dear Jesus, please help them. Amen. Okay.
He had already warned his viewers their situation was life-threatening, and by morning it was clear he had been right. The tiny town of Rolling Fork was, its mayor said, simply gone. And those who had raced to the scene for the purposes of filming the action set aside their cameras and did what they could to help.
When I got here last night as the first one here on scene, I actually had pulled multiple people out of some collapsed homes. It took multiple hours to get these people out, but luckily we were able to get quite a few people out from underneath the rubble. But there still seems to be people stuck as of right now.
23 people have been confirmed dead, with dozens injured and 4 still missing statewide. Reporters called it a direct hit in Rolling Fork, where the residents ran from their homes in terror to return later for those who had not made it out.
We had to help dead bodies out of the house. So that is very disturbing. Like actually seeing people losing their lives over a bad weather like this.
Ran, got in the bathroom, in the tub with my wife, and all threw pillows over us, and we could hear stuff hitting the roof, a lot of trees.
Search and rescue teams from across Mississippi poured into the area to assist the living and help retrieve the dead. The tornado has swept on unweakened towards Alabama, but the destruction that it wrought here will be felt for months and years to come. Callum Watkinson, ITV News.
Since Russia's invasion more than a year ago, over 100,000 Ukrainians have sought sanctuary in the UK. Most of them have been paired with families here under the Homes for Ukraine scheme. Today, though, the Ukrainian ambassador made an urgent appeal for more UK families to help. But as Neil Connery now reports, the influx of refugees is also causing tension in some communities.
Galina fled Ukraine with her daughter Kalaria last year. They say the Ansett family in Kent, who took them in as part of the UK's Homes for Ukraine scheme, saved their lives.
Wonderful people, wonderful family. I know this was a safe place. I don't afraid about my life, my daughter.
Miss my family and my friends, and I'm pretty sure that it's absolutely the same for all Ukrainian people who are not at home now, and just for all refugees.
Their hosts say they feel like they've gained a daughter and granddaughter.
We didn't want lodgers. We wanted people who would fit in with a family and be happy to do that. And that is exactly what we've got.
But not everyone is as happy. In the Welsh town of Llantwit Major, the group Patriotic Alternative protested today against plans to build temporary housing for Ukrainian refugees on a former school site. Wales Against Racism held a counter-demonstration. More than 118,000 Ukrainians have benefited from the Homes for Ukraine scheme. The government hopes host families will extend their sponsorship and more will come forward.
We are grateful to His Majesty Government, to all the local councils, but mostly to all the families who opened up their homes, their hearts, sometimes wallets, to help Ukrainians who are fleeing from the horrors of war.
Back in Ukraine, fresh horrors. Rescue workers search for survivors after a missile hit these flats in Zaporizhia. More than 1 year on, the needs of Ukraine's refugees remain as urgent as ever. Neil Connery, ITV News.
Well, some breaking news now, and in the last few minutes, unconfirmed reports from the Russian TASS news agency say that President Putin will station tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus, which neighbours Ukraine. It adds that Russia has moved 10 aircraft capable of carrying the weapons to Belarus. We'll have more on this story in our late bulletin. But next this evening, the former Prime Minister Liz Truss is reportedly nominating 4 close supporters for peerages as part of her resignation honours. It sparked outrage among some MPs, not least because she only served for such a short time. Well, our political reporter Amy Lewis joins us now. Amy, you've been looking into this. What more can you tell us?
Well, normally what's controversial is who is on the list, but this time it is the fact that there is a list at all, because, of course, she was only in office for 49 days. But as a former Prime Minister, Liz Truss is allowed to nominate people for honours. And actually, the number 4, it's a relatively small number in comparison to what other former Prime Ministers and the numbers that they have nominated. But Labour and the Lib Dems still are calling on the Prime Minister to block the list. The Labour Deputy Leader, Angela Rayner, has called it a list of shame. Here's what she said. She says she took a wrecking ball to the economy in a disastrous 6-week premiership that has left millions facing mortgage misery. But Rishi Sunak now looks set to allow her to hand out these obscene rewards for failure. Well, I spoke to number 10 earlier. There's no comment from them. I also spoke to a spokesman for Liz Truss. He said it wouldn't be appropriate to comment on a leaked list.
OK, Amy, thank you very much. 2 boys, aged 14 and 16, have been remanded in custody after being charged with the murder of another teenager. 16-year-old Rohan Chand was stabbed to death in Northampton on Wednesday. The 2 accused boys can't be named because of their age. An asteroid big enough to wipe out a city will pass between the Earth and the Moon later today. Now, it's rare for an asteroid that big to come so close, but thankfully, the European Space Agency says there's no chance of it striking the Earth. Shihab Khan has the details.
An asteroid which is big enough to wipe out a city is about to pass by Earth. So the big question is, are we in any danger? Well, the large chunk of space rock known as 2023 DZ2 is almost the size of Big Ben, 315 feet in height. So how close to Earth will it pass? Well, it's going to pass between the Earth and the Moon's orbit, so it'll be about 100,000 miles away, which is half the distance from here to the Moon, so pretty close. It's near enough for astronomers to view it through binoculars and small telescopes. Although asteroid flybys are common, it's rare for one so big to come so close. But according to scientists, we have nothing to fear because it's not going to hit us. We won't see DZ2 after Saturday until 2026. Scientists have also ruled out chances of it striking Earth at that point too. But it is a reminder that we are simply a drop in a very large and busy universe.
Shihab Khan there. Now in sport, it's the opening day of rugby's Women's Six Nations. It's also the end of an era. The world's most capped player, Sarah Hunter, is playing her last game for England in her 141st appearance. At half-time, defending champions England had scored 5 tries and were leading 31-0. Wales got their Six Nations campaign underway with a victory over Ireland in Cardiff. Wales scored 5 tries to win 31 points to 5. And Scotland have made a winning start to the Euro 2024 qualifying campaign at Hampden Park. Manchester United's Scott McTominay came off the subs bench to score twice in the final few minutes as Scotland beat Cyprus 3-0. And finally for this evening, the pallbearers who carried the late Queen Elizabeth's coffin during her state funeral have been honoured for the roles they played. They're among scores of military personnel and royal aides given awards in a special honours list. Rebecca Barry has all the details.
With the weight of the world on their shoulders, as billions watched every step, 8 young men silently carried out their final duty for the late Queen. Now the pallbearers who carried Her Majesty's coffin have been bestowed honours for their role. The King awarding them the Silver Royal Victorian Medal in recognition of their service to his late mother. Servicemen who helped carry the Queen's coffin at her lying in rest in Edinburgh are also among those recognised in a special set of Demise Awards. The list also includes the RAF flight crew who transported the Queen's coffin from Scotland to London.
The Royal Victorian Order was created by Queen Victoria to reward people who had done a particular service to the royal family. Sometimes it would be service for many, many years, and sometimes it would be a particular service during those very moving and memorable days in September. So I think anyone who has received or will receive this award should be extremely proud of it.
Angela Kelly, Queen Elizabeth II's personal dresser, seen here on the right, has been made a commander of the Royal Victorian Order. And the late Queen's stud groom, Terry Pendry, who stood beside her pony as the funeral cortege made its way into Windsor Castle, was also honoured. Rebecca Barry, ITV News.
And that is it for now. I'll be back with the late news. That's at 11:15. Until then, whatever you're doing, enjoy your evening. Bye for now.